Hey, so actually a quick disclaimer before the video begins. Okay, so this is what I was going to originally include the intro skit, but then I thought it would work better for my next video. So in other words, the storyline I made for my last video won't be active for this one, but instead my next one, so I might as well just start the context now. Just a robot, and the ThenamesJunkie made a video explaining why they don't like the FNAF series. It wasn't that good. That's literally all the context you need here. 3, 2...
Looks like I better run for my life. I'll never be in one piece. C95, I've got 11 on my tail. No time to think of a way to survive. Mechanical instinct. Mechanical instinct.
Hey guys, I'm just a robot, and as you can clearly tell, I am a robot.
And I'm Junkie. I'm not a robot. I'm an animal.
Hunt you down, eat you alive, just like animals, animals like animals most.
And Jar here thought it'd be an interesting idea to do a video on robot animals.
Junkie, you're not supposed to introduce yourself like that. You're supposed to do an unfunny skit about you breaking into my house, and then through a series of very awkward dialogue, we agreed to do a video on something together.
Or we can not do something that makes your average, low-budget middle school play look like a Broadway production of Hamlet.
Whoa, that's a fascinating concept. Let's do that instead.
Whoa! Jonah leaving in footage that doesn't relate to the video at all and just pads it out? Sorry to say, but... No, you're wrong! Okay, no, you can go. This isn't one of those huge debunk moments. Honestly though, I would like you to remember this whole entire set of dialogue, because this actually will tie into one of the main problems I have with this video as a whole later.
Just a robot! Anyways, by this point, I'm sure all of you are well aware of the indie game Five Nights at Freddy's.
I was aware of the indie game Shovel Knight, thank you very much. Poor soul, destined to wander the Super Smash Bros. Field as an assist trophy.
Hallelujah. Hallelujah.
AKA Matt Pat's favorite game series to do theories on. The first game came out on August 8th of 2014. And in just a few short months, it quickly grew up to the point where it was even rivaling Minecraft in terms of popularity. But there is one key difference between Minecraft and Five Nights at Freddy's.
And what difference would that be, Jar?
Minecraft was, and still is, actually a fun game.
Yeah, compared to other indie games such as Bendy and the Ink Machine, Cuphead, Shovel Knight, Undertale, and so on, Five Nights at Freddy's is less of a game and more like a button-pushing simulator with low-quality, cheap jump scares thrown in the mix.
Now, there's actually a lot to unpack here. First off, and credit to Luxter for pointing this out to me in the script, but yeah, sure, fine, this is fair. Let's compare a horror game to a platformer, RPG, and a run-and-gun shooter. All three games have completely different mechanics, not to mention atmospheres, to the point this comparison is literally just apples to oranges. What's the comparison? Indie games of creatures? Is that the best you've got? If so, you can walk out right the door. Also, slight nitpick, but poor wording is poor. Horror games aren't exactly meant to be fun, more so scare the audience. Second, my ears are bleeding, and I have no band-aids to fix my aching ears as well as my dignity. I get what you're trying to go for using this. I'm relating to Five Nights at Freddy's style of jump scare, which usually tends to come out of nowhere and is high-pitched in tone. That being said, the ear whip is what bugs me in particular here. And while I don't mean to be that guy, you know, that homeless guy that begs in the street and tries to get money through pointing out production issues, this legitimately hurts. If it was purposefully annoying, fine, I get that, but I'm going to have to play an old quote of mine for my commentary on Siphon. Yeah, no, frick you. Even with my volume at one of its lowest settings, it still managed to completely destroy my ears. This is why we have something called ear rape warnings. And if it was for the sake of a joke, then sorry, you've just heard your audience about warning for the sake of a joke. Ear rape jokes can work in videos, but something that's crucial is not going overboard. Simply adding an ear rape warning before the jump scare would help prevent the audience from getting hurt, and gives them some form of consent. Don't think about it too hard. There's also another issue I have. Stage switch.
Objection!
Your autopsy report- wait, frick, cut. you show no footage to actually back up your point. So, Five Nights at Freddy's apparently is just low quality jump scares. Yeah, here's the funniest thing about this. Throughout this video, there was quite literally no footage shown whatsoever. And before you try making the argument that FNAF is popular, therefore most of your audience will understand, no excuse. As you shouldn't just assume all of your audience will know what you're talking about. Now, I may hear somebody give Source the option that said footage might be incredibly difficult to find, and to that I say bullshit, as there's multiple videos on YouTube alone that are quite literally compilations of jump scares. Heck, even videos showing the jump scares of every single animatronic in the franchise. And even then, this laziness on your part actually backfires more than you would think. See, because if you had shown the jump scares, over time you'd see that they vary heavily in quality. As such, I decided to get a jump scare from Five Nights at Freddy's 2. Now compare it to a jump scare from the newest FNAF game, Ultimate Custom Night. Notice how there's an obvious dip in quality from the jump scares, how the latter doesn't have as much tension or have as much effect. The first could actually spark feelings of terror, especially after given movement. Looking deeply at Custom Night, it's nothing more than the screen as well as the animatronic vibrating. The point I'm trying to get across here is that you could have actually been right, but you chose the lazy way out here, and I can't help but find that as oddly suspicious. I don't want to jump to the conclusion that you left this out on purpose, but as is, this is shading, and this point sucks dick, yet can't get it to climax. And speaking of climax, yeah, no, I still got enough stamina to keep going. Oh, what am I doing with my life?
But despite all of that, Scott Cawthon keeps pumping out crappy sequel after crappy sequel. And Scott keeps claiming that the most relevant sequel is going to be the last installment in the series.
See, there's another thing wrong here, particularly with that last line of Domo arigato, just a roboto here. That whole entire Scott tries to make it like the last installment thing, how about no? This is actually just factually incorrect. There was actually only one instance where the FNAF series was teased as ending, and that was Five Nights at Freddy's 4. Since that game, no other game has been teased as a finale. Heck, not even FNAF would, which basically ended on a cliffhanger for the next installment. I explained my issues with this, but this will again be important in my final thoughts.
At this point, it's pretty much like Loki dying in Marvel. People can't tell if it's actually true or not. There's even a Five Nights at Freddy's 5. You would think that Scott would stop after that point, but no, the series continues.
But why though? The series is making money, it's popular. I mean, Pokemon has how many games by now? Mario? I don't get it. Why would it be surprising for an indie game that's practically gone mainstream to keep going consistently? Is it because it's an indie game? There's no elaboration here. I don't get it. At all.
With Pizzeria Simulator and Fredbear and Friends.
Hold it! No! Bad humor. 1 Ace Attorney courtroom scene per commentary. Bad boy. Bad. Okay, now. You ready for a bad time? Stage transition activate, destination 2.08. Now, let this be Judgment Hour. This is the most deranged, lazy, absolutely asinine, any other synonym for downright idiotic point in the video. Because hey, fun fact for those familiar with the FNAF series, this is wrong. Fredbear and Friends is no FNAF game. Well, no, not exactly. Fredbear and Friends is a fan-made Five Nights at Freddy's game. Scott Cawthon had no hand in the creation of said game. As soon as I saw this point, all my faves in this video swiftly jumped out of the window, broke its back, and is cursing the lack of insurance. And why is that? Well, it's because this demonstrates my central issue of this entire video. There was no effort, nor any research put into this video at all. A simple look to the FNAF wiki would help show that. This game has no connection other than being related to the same franchise. Now, your next line is, I addressed this in the comment section, therefore your point has no purpose. This is where you're wrong, as regardless of if it was a simple mistake or not, my point still stands, a little to no effort was put into this, as a simple rewatching upon this quote would have shown you that you were wrong, instead of having to have your fans point out this mistake for you.
Yeah, but you have to admit, Jar, some of the theories put forth by the fandom are usually quite entertaining and well thought out. Some of MatPat's best content were theory videos on Five Nights at Freddy's after all.
Yeah, a lot of the theories are interesting, but no matter what theories are put out there, there's always going to be a few flaws that makes the theory not fit in too well with the rest of the story, making the timeline of events in the game incredibly hard to follow, and it's completely impossible to fit everything together if you're not keeping track of every single little detail. Personally, I think that the story of Five Nights at Freddy's has so many plot holes that Scott is praying that people either ignore them or fit everything together themselves.
Bitch, where? No, seriously, are we supposed to take this as fact? Where are these actual plot holes? Or are there actually none and you're just saying this continue this narrative of FNAF being a poor franchise? Stop it. I do not want to keep repeating elaborate and asking unnecessary questions like a white man fisting a black...
I'll be honest, at this point, I feel like Scott is just trolling the fandom. Remember all that drama where the fandom couldn't figure out for the lives of them whether that purple rabbit... what was his name again? Oh yeah, Bonnie. Yeah, whether Bonnie was supposed to be a guy or a girl.
Oh yeah, I remember that. The fandom couldn't agree to disagree, and they kept on arguing until Scott stepped in and confirmed that Bonnie was indeed a male. But like with most fan bases, they ignored the author's intent and kept on arguing.
I'm hooked! Extremely hooked. Mostly because when I went online to actually try looking for research of this happening, I could not find squat. How am I supposed to believe this is real? Frick, even just linking some forum or comments or something would help make this point seem a little bit more credible. But even without the exact evidence, I still have issue with this. Five Nights at Freddy's 2 was released in November of 2014. Assuming all this drama involving Toy Bonnie, at least I'm assuming it's Tiny Bonnie given the screenshot you show is true, that would mean this drama happened around that time period. Which was roughly around 3 years ago. This is actually true, and it more than likely is, and that means you're judging the fandom for an event that happened years ago. Frankly, evidence of this sort would be more credible if it was used closer to the time period we're currently in.
And this is not the only time the fanbase has pressured someone into following their mindset. The fanbase even pressured the most subscribed channel on YouTube, PewDiePie, because he made a Let's Play of Five Nights at Freddy's sister location, and he said the game series really didn't scare him anymore, because it's nothing but a garbage heap of cheap jump scares.
You know, that might just be an indicator at this point that you're beating a dead horse. Five Nights at Freddy's might as well become the new Sonic franchise.
Only that's not what the phrase beating a dead horse means. Beating a dead horse is a phrase used when you're continuing something that's outcome has already been decided. Only, no, FNAF has never really had an outcome. Like Commentary was, it could say hitting somebody like Cungy Muller's beating a dead horse as he was covered to oblivion. The points were already made clear to him. Here though, how does that make any sense? Oh my gosh, stop talking.
I think we can all agree that PewDiePie learned that the game really isn't scary, but you should always fear the fanbase.
No, fear the porn instead. Have you seen the FNAF anime?
But to be perfectly honest, I think that compared to other large fan bases, such as Steven Universe and the Rick and Morty fanbase, the Five Nights at Freddy's fanbase is relatively tame. At least they haven't bullied any of their fellow fans into committing suicide over a stupid little piece of fan art. Speaking of fan art, let's check out all the new fan art people have made for me.
And that's how the video ends. No, legit, that's actually how it ends. Okay, now remember when I put in that long string of context in the beginning of the video? Yeah, here's where it becomes relevant. Throughout this whole entire video, the most junkie and discount Wally you have interacted with in the intro skit alone. Most of the chemistry in this video ends up just being Gahhh says something, Junkie comes in agreeing, Junkie says something, vice versa. There was barely any feel of this actually being a collab. Frick, I see more chemistry with some modern PokeTubers and that's sad. In the end, Junkie feels here, simply for the sake of having him on your channel, and it makes the video feel more hollow as a result. Now, I'm done, so on the final thoughts. This video sucked! This video really sucked! Gahhh, what the heck happened here, mate? You're better than this! Same can be said for you too, Junkie! I'd have a lot to say here, but as I said earlier, my main issue is that there was literally no effort put in this video. The lack of research, the lack of chemistry, this video lacks heart and passion, and it's just bad. When I be blunt, part of me thought this video was made simply to talk about another rather looked upon fanbase. Cause like, Gahhh, you already got Steven Universe out of the way, why not another? Now, no, don't get me wrong, I don't believe that, not really, but I can't help but get that vibe from this video as a whole. I think my thoughts here speak for me. Now, without ado, this is Jonah Smith, and I still still need to think of a new tagline.